Hey there, sister friend. I am so grateful that you're tuning into today's show. We're talking about what we don't talk about nearly enough in our culture and in our society, and that is body dysmorphic disorder, also known as BDD. I want you to think beyond the mirror, and I want to bring some statistics to you to better help educate you on understanding body dysmorphic disorder. Here we go, sis. Hey girl, welcome to the Her Best Self podcast. I'm Lindsay Nickel, former competitive figure skater and perfectionist, turned God-led imperfect boy mom and digital CEO. If you find yourself constantly thinking about food and wondering if you'll wake up one day free from the obsessive thoughts and behaviors controlling your life, then I've created this podcast for you. Because I know exactly what it's like to be a downright hot mess, trapped in a destructive cycle of disordered eating. I finally found freedom, and you can too, girlfriend. So if you're ready to heal your relationship with food and body and break the chains of control and show up in your best health, then grab your favorite Tarjay journal and let's get to it. So you can start living your best life as your best self. I'm so happy to have you back listening to the Her Best Self pod. And sister, am I ready to get recording today? I feel like I'm on a high right now. I don't know. The spring is just lovely. It is so lovely. And I actually dropped my kids off at school and I came back to really get focused and record for you. My oldest son wanted to ride his electric scooter, which is actually like an adult electric scooter. So guess who was stuck riding it back home? And I've never ridden an adult electric scooter. In fact, I don't even know if I've ever ridden an electric scooter at all. And it was so freeing. So I'm basically telling you this in the intro of the show because if you haven't done something like that in a long time, enter in your version of the electric scooter. I highly recommend it. You don't want to sit on the sidelines of your life anymore. And I know if you're listening to the show and you're struggling with food controlling your life, it's really hard to think about having fun or even finding that playful joy, that happiness. So I encourage you today to go find that. Like, go play in the sand, go dip your toes in water, go walk outside barefoot, do something that kind of pulls you back into either nature or to get to a joyful place and something that you have no idea if you'd even enjoy if you experience it. And that's what the electric scooter taught me today was like, this is fun. Gosh, we should be more like kids more often. I don't even know why I started the show with that today, but I wanted to talk about something a little bit more serious, maybe more mechanical in terms of conversation, because some of my clients have been coming to me and saying they're having all these thoughts around their body and just kind of wanting to understand what is body dysmorphic disorder? Is it actually a thing? And learn a little bit more about it. So I wanted to do an episode specifically on BDD. Now, I will start by saying I am not a clinical psychologist and I'm not a clinician. I'm just a girl with a podcast who has built this life and this dream around my recovery, and I'm able to help you recover from your eating disorder as well. But I'm not going to sit here and provide any clinical advice to you outside of what is already readily available, but I did want to pull from statistics and even my own stories with clients and my personal journey so that you can understand a little bit more about body dysmorphic disorder. So maybe you've been looking in the mirror lately, fixating on what you believe is a flaw that nobody else seems to notice, or you're spending hours checking your appearance, comparing yourself to everyone on Instagram, avoiding social settings just because you're totally convinced that everyone is staring at you and everyone is staring at enter in one thing that you cannot stop thinking about. If this sounds familiar, then I want you to know that you're not alone, and today's episode might just bring what your heart needs to hear. Okay, so again, not giving you a label, not saying that you have body dysmorphic disorder, but I do want to educate you in understanding that body dysmorphic disorder actually is in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. It is classified in the DSM-5, and it's under obsessive compulsive and related disorders, along with OCD and several other like disorders. But it goes beyond occasional insecurity. It's when the thoughts that you have about your appearance become all consuming, when they start stealing your joy and limiting your life. And let me tell you something important right off the bat. This isn't about vanity. This is about genuine struggle that deserves compassion and also deserves understanding. So let's talk about what body dysmorphic disorder actually is. It is a mental health condition where a person becomes so obsessed with their perceived flaws in their appearance. These flaws are things that you can't stop thinking about, whether that's one or more perceived defect that you think or flaws that are in your appearance that are obsessive thoughts. And really, this can be any focus of the body, any part of the body, although it is common that the thoughts around your face or hair or skin or weight or specific body parts, like your stomach, all enter into this. But the statistics around body dysmorphic disorder are truly eye-opening, and this is why I wanted to talk about it today. About 1 in 50 people in the general population experience body dysmorphic disorder. But here's what's even more concerning, and that's that studies show that among people that have eating disorders, that number jumps dramatically, all the way up to between 25 and 40%. That means if you're struggling with disordered eating, there is a much higher chance that you're also dealing with body dysmorphic disorder. And I want to share a story with you that really illustrates how BDD can take over a life. I had a client, we'll call her Ella in terms of privacy because I want to leave her anonymous, but she came to me initially for help with years of struggling with an eating disorder. Ella was successful in her career. In fact, she was a VP at her company. She had loving relationships. And from the outside, everything looked perfect. Like she did the plan, right? She went to school. She got married to the perfect guy. She had 2 kids. But inside, she was crumbling. During our sessions, it became very clear that Ella spent so much focus on what she perceived as asymmetry in her face, while also hating her stomach. And if you're recovering from an eating disorder, you know that you can go through bloating, you can go through gastrointestinal issues, like you can have all these things. Your body is learning to trust itself again. So that can also be very triggering if you're constantly fixated on one part of your body. Ella would cancel plans if she felt her appearance didn't look right that day or she felt like she looked off. And she had dozens of pictures of herself that she would take from different angles in her phone, just like trying to capture what she really looked like because she didn't trust what she saw regularly when she would look at herself in the mirror. She would always talk with me about her skincare products that she had. And worst of all, she honestly felt and believed, and these are her words, not mine, that no one could possibly understand how obvious her flaws were. When her stomach wasn't as flat as she wanted, she would hibernate in loose clothing. She wouldn't go out. She would isolate. That's when the over-exercise would begin and ramp up, and that was the flare-up of what triggered restriction. And Ella's story broke my heart, not only because I also experienced very similar behaviors, but because I saw how much living she was missing out on while trapped in this cycle that she was never going to get out of unless she recognized it and worked with somebody to help support her forward. The truth is, when I looked at Ella, I saw this amazingly beautiful and confident woman, inside and out. The things that she was fixating on weren't visible to me. It wasn't visible actually to her husband or anyone else in her life. It was just something that she would constantly bring up. And here's what's important to understand. If you struggle with body dysmorphic disorder or you have thoughts around your body constantly and your body image, I want you to know it's not your fault. It's not about vanity or self-obsession. It's actually a recognized mental health condition that can often coexist with eating disorders. It can often coexist with anxiety or depression or even OCD. And just like those conditions, it can be healed and treated with the right support. Some of these symptoms, some of these behaviors, maybe you're resonating here, doesn't mean you have BDD, okay? But I just want to explain it to you. Because if you're listening and thinking like this sounds like me, then I want to offer you some tangible tools today that you can help bring into your toolbox to break free from obsessive thoughts, because this is so important. Okay, girls? So we're going to talk about 6 different things, different tips that aren't replacements for professional help, but they can be powerful steps towards healing. Tip number 1, practice awareness. Seems simple, right? But probably one of the hardest things to do. So the first tip is becoming aware of your thoughts around your body and the behaviors that happen because of those thoughts, the behaviors that you tend to act on because of those thoughts. So I want you to start by simply noticing when you're engaging in these behaviors, okay? So if you are constantly checking yourself out in the mirror, constantly comparing yourself, or seeking reassurance from other people about your appearance, maybe you go through your closet and you try on like 20 different shirts and nothing works because you feel like there's this one thing that you're fixated on and it just isn't right, and so you decide to stay in. I used to do this when I was struggling, and I don't want you to judge yourself for having these thoughts, okay? I just want you to observe yourself with compassion in the moment. So you might say to yourself, I notice that I'm having thoughts right now, and says this is going to create a tiny bit of separation between you and the thought, okay? So one technique that I absolutely love is either setting a timer when you're getting ready in the morning or when you're going out somewhere, or giving yourself a reasonable amount of time to get ready. And when that timer goes off, you are walking away from the mirror no matter what. This truly helps break the cycle of checking and then rechecking. If you're finding yourself in the mirror, like staring at your stomach all the time or looking at the cellulite, like this isn't helping you move forward. This is not helping you, okay? Now, I'm not saying there's not a time or place to look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself how much you love yourself, because I truly love that tactic as well. But one technique is literally giving yourself time and then allowing yourself to walk away, break the cycle of checking. Okay. Tip number 2, I want you to challenge the distortion in the thinking. So our minds can play tricks on us, especially if you do struggle with body dysmorphic disorder or a bad body image. I want you to start questioning those absolute thoughts. Like, everyone notices this right now about me. Or I know I look disgusting. Is there actual evidence, girl, that support these thoughts are true? Like, would you say that these thoughts would hold up in a court of law? Would you say these harsh things to your daughter, your mom, or your friend? One powerful exercise is to get it out. I want you to challenge the distortion. Write out how you would respond to somebody else if they shared those same concerns to you. And the difference here is to really bridge that compassion. If you wouldn't point out somebody else's stomach, or your husband is like, I don't know what you're talking about, you're so beautiful, or whatever, right? And you're constantly looking for that assurance. The difference in compassion is often so eye-opening. What you see might be a distortion. I actually love the phrase, our minds distort our mirrors. It is so true. Tip number 3, reduce comparison. If at all possible, eliminate it, okay? I know it's hard, and I don't mean like healthy comparison, which is totally normal for human beings. I mean social media comparison, okay? This one is huge, sis, but studies show that increased social media correlates with worse body image and body dysmorphic disorder symptoms. Those perfectly filtered images, they just aren't reality. And I know that they feel like they are. You can sit there and you can get so trapped in scrolling and comparing and wishing that your arms looked like hers or your legs were like that. I want you to try on a social media detox. Just do it. Do it for a day, do it for a week, or at least unfollow accounts that trigger comparison. Replace that scrolling time with something that feeds your soul instead. And I want you to replace it with something that doesn't feed your insecurities. Maybe that means it's time for an electric scooter ride. Anyways, I want you to replace it with something for you. Tip number 4, redirect your focus. Because where your mind goes, your energy flows, And if you're not living in a healthy mind right now, then you can't expect healthy behaviors. You're going to be searching for the negative. When body dysmorphic disorder thoughts come up or negative body image arises in you, having a plan to redirect your attention is so crucial. This can look like just creating a list of activities that fully engage your mind. That's things that you put in a flow state where you're not thinking about your appearance. You're not focused or super focused on your body at all. For some of my clients, this is reading a book or solving a puzzle, going for a walk in nature, calling a friend. The key is to have this list ready before the thoughts hit, okay? So you're not figuring this out in the moment. It's actually really great to predetermine how you want to redirect your focus when something like this arises in your mind and you want to body check or you want to slam yourself with all of that hate talk in the mirror. Tip number 5, practice body neutrality. So we often talk about body positivity, but sometimes that can feel like too big of a leap, especially if you've been criticizing your body for a very long time. Instead, I want you to try practicing body neutrality. And this is focusing on what your body can do rather than how it looks. Can your legs carry you through the day? Can your arms hug the people that you love? Sis, can your mind solve problems and create things? When I was talking about this with Ella, she was so successful at work and she wasn't even seeing that because she was so occupied with how people were going to view her in meetings. What were people going to think about her body in meetings? Instead of using that energy to think about her body in a more neutral tone. Like, I'm about to rock this discussion out with my boss. I'm about to present the crap out of this content. Can your mind solve problems and create things? Your body, sis, is an instrument. It's not an ornament. And when you can shift from appearance to how it functions, then we create a space for healing because you don't have to love yourself right now, especially if you are going through a weight restoration process or you're feeling like an alien in your body. You don't have to love yourself. Although we can eventually love our bodies and get to that point. I truly believe in that and I'm an advocate for that. But you can practice neutrality. What can your body do for you right now? How can you honor it anyways if you're not loving it? And then last but not least, tip number 6, which is the most important, and that is seeking help and support. I want you to reach out for professional support. Body dysmorphic disorder responds really well to treatments like cognitive behavioral therapy, if you've heard of CBT, which is specifically designed to help challenge disordered thinking patterns. And working with somebody who specializes in body image issues can make an enormous difference on your life. So I want you to think about Ella. After working together with a therapist specializing in BDD and also working with me, she began to experience a real freedom from the chains of those thoughts on the regular. And she started by simply reducing the mirror checking time. And then she started practicing and challenging her thoughts. She deleted all of the selfies, the pictures, the ways that she would kind of go into that place later at night and like look at all of them and judge herself and any of that triggering stuff, including unfollowing accounts that really sparked that comparison in her. She deleted that. And it wasn't an overnight transformation. There were setbacks, there were hard days. When we're recovering from anything in life, not just eating disorders or dealing with bad body image or body dysmorphic disorder, none of that stuff, okay? Not just that, but anything, we're gonna experience setbacks, we're gonna experience hard days. But gradually, Ella started reclaiming the time and the mental energy that had been stolen from her. And 6 months later, she shared something with me I will never forget. She said, for the first time in years, I went to my daughter's birthday party and I didn't think about my appearance. I was just there. I was present. I laughed and I played and I connected and I realized that this is what living feels like. Sister, friend, that is what I want for you. To be present, to laugh, to be free without wondering how your face looks when you're laughing, or to be able to eat a piece of cake without being concerned about your stomach afterwards. to connect deeply without the background noise of how you think other people are viewing you. Because you only have one precious life. And your body was never meant to be your life's work. It was actually meant to champion you in doing your life's purpose and your life's work. So if you struggle with really disordered thoughts around your appearance, or you feel like it's consuming your days, I just want you to know that you can heal from this. And it takes courage to face those thoughts and really begin the work of healing. Actually, it takes courage to raise your hand and be like, okay, I struggle with viewing my body almost outside of myself, as though when people look at me, they see something different than how I look at me. But sis, listening to the show right now, you've already shown courage just by considering that there might be another way to live. Before we wrap up today, I just want to invite you to take one small step. I want you to choose just one of the tips we discussed today and commit to practicing it this week, because small, consistent actions lead to the biggest transformations. I've seen it client after client. It's those small, tiny milestones that lead to the mountaintop. So here is a summary of what we discussed. I want you to practice awareness, become aware of the thoughts, become aware of the mirror checking, and just observe with compassion. Tip number 2, challenge the distortion and the thinking. Write down the thoughts, then write how you would respond if your friend shared the same concerns about her body with you. This is super interesting. It's a great exercise. Tip number 3, reduce comparison in all the ways. Go on a social media detox. Tip number 4, redirect your focus. Okay, engage in a book, solve puzzles, allow yourself to be in nature. Tip number 5, practice neutrality with your body. What is it my body is allowing me to do? And of course, tip number 6, I want you to seek support of some kind. Before we wrap up today, if you're looking for that exact level of support, to have somebody to help push you, to help hold you accountable, to love on you, give you a virtual hug, cry with you when you're struggling in your process of healing, then I can be your hype girl. You can find me at herbestself.co, where you can learn more about working with me one-on-one. If you are interested in learning about what it looks like to have a one-on-one coach that helps you step by step of the way and in this very personalized container, then I want you to check out episode 206, where I talk about your personal invitation to find lasting freedom from disordered eating. And I specifically share with you the Freedom Formula experience, which is my one-on-one coaching container. And please check out episode 186.5 as well. In that episode, I talk about the benefits of working with a recovery coach. So if you're interested in learning about what that looks like and how a coach can help you, check out that episode. Healing is worth it. When you heal, you understand that restriction isn't powerful, and healing isn't linear, and control isn't caring. And silence, it isn't always peace. And dependency on this disorder, it isn't security. You can respect yourself because respect isn't optional. And food, well, that isn't earned. It's freely abundant. I love you, sis, and I will talk to you on the next episode. Bye for now. Oh, friend, thank you so much for letting me share what was on my heart today. My hope for this podcast is to help more women find freedom from food and body. If this has empowered or blessed you, let me know. I'd be honored for your rating and review of my show, and I'd love to connect with you in my private Facebook community. You really can move from perfection to purpose. Let's break the chains together. I'll help navigate the way. Until next time, bye for now, girl.